Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Hype, Building an AI Playbook. To go ahead and introduce myself, my name is Matt. I'm a Senior Solutions Architect here at Wursta. Before being acquired by Wursta, I was the co-founder and CTO of a custom software development company. We specialized in anything from building mobile apps to web apps and AI and blockchain. We are also joined here today with Diak. Diak is one of Google's top customer engineers.
Nice.
He's been with Google for over 3 years now.
Yes, sir. Yeah, 3 years. So at Google, essentially, I like to say my job is to be the human search engine. Customers come to me with questions, and I either know them at the moment, or I have to find the answer in the bowels of Google, much like search does. Now I'm updating that to be more of a Gen AI, maybe like a search augmented generation where I'm able to provide better answers to customers with Gen AI as the thing. I've helped more than 390 customers at Google so far, spanning, deal amounts that are in the tens of millions of dollars. And I've been, very grateful to be working on a few things for customers, like a calculator that helps you estimate Google Cloud costs. It's really important to keep track of those costs, and especially in the Gen AI age, right?
Sure. Absolutely. Very cool.
Yeah.
And people use that calculator every day. It's really
Hopefully
cool that
they
you
will.
got to work on it.
Let me know if there's any feedback.
Yeah.
Bad or not.
We are also joined today with by DJ. DJ is a long-term coworker and friend. He's been working with AI for quite a while.
That's true. Yeah, my name's DJ, and I did build my first chatbot in like '99, but let's not talk about ages here. I have been into technology my entire life and been working in the tech industry for quite a while with Matt, building tons of mobile applications and all sorts of stuff. So thanks, Matt.
Very cool. So for the agenda today, first we're going to have Diak kick it off. He's going to talk about the business landscape and why it's important to start thinking about how to implement AI into your business model. Then DJ is going to give a high-level overview of the AI essentials, and he's going to talk about what it is exactly we're talking about whenever we talk about AI. Then we're going to go into AI in action. We have some business use cases and some demos of projects that we've actually been working on. Finally, we've got developing an AI playbook. And this is something really special that we've been working on with Google, and it's a great place to start if you don't even know where to begin. At the end, we have a giveaway and some time for questions.
Right.
Diak?
Appreciate it. I'll take on the torch and run the 400 dash here. So when y'all invited me to come over and speak here, I think the prompt, pun intended, was help customers understand in the age of Gen AI what mental framework they should use. So this framework is not going to be detailed like a sheet where for each column there's specific things that they should do, and there's a specific recipe for them how to succeed. So the framework I'm gonna go over here starts with an analogy. So Gen AI is a tool much like an airplane is a tool. Airplanes are built for a very specific use case. It's for very far away travel. If you want to go to a different country that's far away or different continent over the ocean, a plane is for that. If you want to commute over to work, a plane is not for that, for its own reasons, right? So with Gen AI, the important thing is to figure out what is the use case. Much like on the plane scenario, Gen AI is the appropriate tool. That requires a business understanding of what your users want, what your strengths are, and how you can use those to provide value to your users, right? It's all about determining exactly where that fulcrum of leverage is so that your users can leverage Gen AI. So an example would be maybe creating a new product from scratch is exactly the thing that you should do, but maybe using the product that you have and enabling it with some Gen AI features, whether you call them Gen AI features or not, is the better approach. It really is up to what your users want, what your team can deliver, what you already have working on, and where you want to get to, right? If you want to take off without a destination, that's going to be a very costly endeavor. You're going to spend a lot of fuel, and with Gen AI, it's no different. Now, the how, a little bit more on the how here. Once you've had that destination set, you put it on the GPS, you know what you're trying to do, whether it's to increase usage or whether it's to increase revenue or somewhere in between, is that first step. So you have here with you some really capable engineers from Wursta who can help you build a prototype that's going to test out a small portion of that mission. Whether your mission is, hey, how can I increase or how can I reduce turnover from my users on this UI that I have on this web app? And is Gen AI a tool that I could use to help me build that mission? They're going to help you build that prototype, which is a quick endeavor, but then more importantly, they're going to help you get to production with it. So the takeaway for this first part of the framework is have clarity on what problem you're trying to solve. Don't start with Gen AI just because your 3 other competitors are doing it, just because you read it on TechCrunch that will get you to massive valuations. I wouldn't say don't buy it into the hype, because I think Gen AI is much more than just a hype cycle. I think it really is transformative technology, but make sure it has value to you. Mm-hmm. Getting to production is exactly what Wursta is going to help you get done. Getting to production here goes beyond just, hey, does this work for my users? It goes on to considerations about legal. And we've all seen, tweets about the hallucinations that different kinds of Gen AI tools have done. There's even one where, a user was trying to buy a car and they convinced the chatbot to sell the car for $1. Now, whether that's legally binding, who's on the hook for these kinds of things, that's all being determined at the moment, in the law, in the law systems of common law in the U.S. and around the world as well. So there's the experimentation to be done, but you still need to get something to production, and that goes through a lot of validation of your use case, figuring out what the potential edge cases are, and using a solidified Google partner like Wursta to help you identify what you need to do. The big takeaway with getting to production is if you try to boil the ocean and implement features, work on the model, consider hardware changes like GPUs or TPUs, potentially mitigation of lawsuits, and then think about the monetization or how it can make your company profitable. That's essentially an entire new business on its own. So instead of boiling the ocean, narrow down exactly where Gen AI can bring value to your customers. Wursta can help you do that as well. So can Google, by the way. The final piece of this framework is, making it profitable. The TLDR is there's no easy answer here. There's no ROI chart that I can show you where, you buy this thing and then you get 70% return on it. It could be, higher, or it could be lower than that. The point here is, because this is new technology with transformative capabilities, you have to experiment. You've already set a destination you're going to. You already know exactly what narrow niche you want to focus on when getting to production. So when it comes to monetization, you have to experiment, whether a usage-based approach, essentially like charging for the amount of tokens that you have to ingest or produce, or consider something like value add, right? A new feature that you're deploying to your application. This button here, I'm going to charge you extra, like a premium tier, just to have these nice little features. So you should consider all of these. A couple examples are, with the API usage, that's what we charge for models. You have inputs and outputs, we will charge you based on that. But the, embedding functionality, Gen AI functionality into your product, an example we have is Google One, which, I think is just about 100 million users, monthly active users that we have. Google One gives you storage and Google Photos capabilities, all of this, VPN, really useful things in general. But with the new addition of Gemini to our portfolio, we can also have users leverage Gemini every day as part of their workflow, embedding that productivity in what they do. And so those are 2 examples here to take away. A last point I want to make is, these are what our companies, the customers that we have, this is what they're doing. They're focusing on customer service, writing code, and then improving productivity for their employees. You can kind of really see this bimodal distribution of productivity improvement and customer service, which is just food for thought. Doesn't mean that if you build a conversational agent for retail, that's going to be massively successful. But this is what people are doing right now. May not be what's in the future, but that's what they're experimenting with right now. Happy to help more. I'm going to pass off to DJ for him to continue.
Thanks, Diak. I just want to take a couple minutes to talk about some of the essentials of AI. I'm just going to break down generative AI and predictive AI and how it's used in the business world, but I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on it as a technical solution. But essentially, predictive AI, as the name suggests, helps us anticipate future events and outcomes. Generative AI, on the other hand, has this amazing ability to create new content, ideas, and suggestions. Now, as I delve deeper into these, I just want you to think about your business solutions, what you do in the day-to-day of your job, and the repetitive tasks, or maybe where some decision-making could be made a little bit faster, or maybe some more creativity could be injected in your process, and think about how these tools might be able to supplement in those situations. Could AI play a role in any of these? I don't know, but that's what we're here to find out. Now, predictive AI is an interesting topic. For centuries, we've tried to predict the weather, for instance. We've looked at wind patterns, cloud formations, or pressure changes over the course of the year, and we are able to get better and better at predicting what the weather is going to be like. Eventually, we were able to determine that, yeah, maybe tomorrow it's going to rain, so we cancel our golf game or whatever, only to find out tomorrow comes and it's beautiful and sunny. Because, you know what? It wasn't perfect for a long time. Still not quite, but now, at any given moment, if it's about to rain, I can get a notification on my phone just moments before it happens. But that's because of predictive AI. We were able to take AI models and all of this data that we've had through over the hundreds of years and get more accurate predictions about what's going to happen. Now, you might not be running a weather station, but your business does have its own weather patterns to track. Whether that's predicting the stock market or cryptocurrencies, or maybe more specifically forecasting a critical piece of machinery and determining when any kind of maintenance needs to happen to make sure there's no downtime that interrupts your business. Perhaps, on the other hand, you would like to get insights into your customer base and use something like sentiment analysis with predictive AI to determine what your customers think about your products and services. This is the power of predictive AI. It just takes mountains of your business data, like sales figures, website activity, social media chatter, the equipment telemetry, and it finds the patterns that, as humans, we often miss. This ability to predict and anticipate leads to smarter decisions and proactive decision making. Now, on the other side of that, we have generative AI. This is more like a chef, someone who has spent hundreds of thousands of hours learning all about different recipes, techniques, flavor combinations, etc., in order to be able to come up with something that's brand new, that hasn't been done before. Whether that's from making a new dish for a tasting menu at a Michelin star restaurant, or looking at a fast food chain and determining what something new they can make from the already existing ingredients. Certain chains are really good at that. Generative AI is like a digital chef for your business. It learns from your massive amounts of data. It could be images, text, code, even music. And from this knowledge, it can generate entirely new things, entirely new concepts, ideas. Businesses do that for a bunch of different tasks. As we kind of talked about earlier, chatbots is one of the more popular ones right now that you see. You've probably interacted with dozens of chatbots over the past couple of days. It's a great way for a company to put like a first line of defense for the customer service. So instead of having a human talk through all the small little tiny problems that are easy to solve that the AI can be able to answer for customers, the AI takes that on, and that way your customer service can just focus on the more complicated tasks. Another thing that a lot of people might not be super familiar with is something called semantic search. This gives you the ability to take your data and be able to search through your data using just human natural language. For instance, a university could put their course catalog into a database, create a semantic search, and a prospective student can simply type something like, I'm interested in medicine and technology. What courses do you have that will help me achieve that? And then, of course, it's a spark of creativity. You know, maybe marketing teams need help generating posts for social media, or even something like a logo, coming up with basic ideas for logo that you can then take to your design team. The possibilities are really exciting because there's just so many of them, and so many that we've probably yet to uncover. We really are kind of at the beginning era of this. Now, that we've talked all about AI and what it can do, I think it's important that we talk about what it's not, what it can't do. Because, you know, I don't want to sell you this as some magic pill. It's definitely not. Good outcomes do depend on good data. Does your data, do you collect clean data that's perfect for it? Or maybe there's gaps in your data and it's kind of unstructured. You can still do something with unstructured data like that. Like AI can definitely still help you. But preparing your data definitely is vital for making it work well for you. The other thing to keep in mind is AI it definitely isn't magic, because if there's any kind of bias or limitations in your data, those things can show up in your final product. And so it's definitely important to have a human in the loop that is calibrating the data as it goes along the way. That being said, it's also important to know that it's not a substitute for human judgment. Think of it as a tool that you can assist you with making your decisions. It can highlight trends, generate options, predict outcomes. But for complex decisions that have real-world consequences, it's really best to still have a human in the loop. AI makes us better informed humans, not obsolete ones. It's about finding the right balance between incredible opportunities with AI and the critical thinking that only comes from a human. Thank you, Matt.
Cool.
Let's see some stuff in action.
Yeah, thanks, DJ. I like the idea of augmenting people instead of replacing them.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, that feels much better. So just as DJ and Diak had mentioned, AI has a wide range of applications, and it can be a little overwhelming at first to sort of understand them all. So we've actually broken it down into 4 custom areas of development. We have search and conversation, vision, content generation, and predictive. Let's take a look at each one. So for search and conversation, just like DJ had mentioned earlier, imagine being able to have a conversation with your data. Customers on your website would be able to ask questions in natural language and get high quality results. And this isn't just limited to public-facing websites. Personal, private, and complex data is easily navigatable as well. On top of that, it actually has the capability to complete transactions. So you could have a bot that, just like Diak had mentioned, does sales and for a complete end-to-end transactions. So we actually have a demo here that uses Vertex AI search and conversation, and we'll show you that now.
Hi, now I'm going to demonstrate the chatbot that we built for a client. In this case, I'm chatting with Jenny, a shopping assistant. So I'm going to let her know I'm looking for some sunglasses. Because it's using Gemini, I can type full sentences, or I can do a single word response. So in this case, I'm going to say I'm looking for aviators. Great, aviators are great, timeless pair of sunglasses. What's your budget range? I'm going to say $100 to $200. Those are cool, they're actual aviators, but I'm thinking something trendier. And it can handle typos. Those are pretty cool. Let me try them on. Here we go. Great. Back to you.
Great. Thanks, Alex. So next, let's talk about vision. And vision is great for connecting the physical world with the digital. It's kind of like having AI superpowered glasses. A few capabilities of vision aren't limited to analyzing physical documents, detecting and tracking objects, and even handwriting recognition. We're seeing companies add vision to their QA process, tracking inventory, and it's really helpful for skill training. Content generation. This is something that has such a wide range of applications, it's hard to put it on just one slide. You're probably already familiar with tools like Gemini and Duet. These are great at generating text, audio, images, and even give insight. We're seeing companies such as marketing, e-commerce, retail, and education. They're just a fraction of industries currently using content generation right now. We actually have a demo that uses Gemini and Document AI. And here that is now.
We recently had a client reach out to us who wanted to pilot a program to see if Vertex AI could be a good solution to add to their hiring process. We built them this dashboard that allows them to create a job, add a job description, and when candidates upload their resumes, we scan them with Document AI and store them in a database. We compare all the candidates to the job description and give them an AIQ score along with a readout as to why they're a good fit for the role. In this case, the marketing department is looking for a new UI UX designer, and Terry Johnson has the highest score based off his background as a mobile app designer and his degree from Pratt Institute. During the hiring process, role requirements can change, and in this case, the marketing department wants to add video production as one of their marketing initiatives. So I'm going to go in here and update the role requirements to include weekly video podcasts for the marketing team, and update the title as well to video producer. When I hit save, it's going to go out to Gemini for all of the candidates and create a brand new AIQ score based off the new requirements. Great, now that that's complete, we can see we have a new top candidate, Alex Garcia. Looking at this, he has 5 years of experience as a video producer and podcast creator, as well as some UI UX design experience. That's it for the demo.
And thanks again, Alex. Finally, we have predictive AI. And predictive AI is going to be best suited for more analytic applications. It's great for charting, making forecasts on large data sets. We're seeing companies use this for anything from forecasting demand to risk assessment. And this is only the beginning. As these tools become more accessible, we'll start to see people use AI in ways that we never even imagined. DJ, you want to talk about the playbook?
Sure. Before I do that, though, real quick, I just wanted to touch on the elephant in the room. I'm sure everyone is wondering, how much these things cost. And unfortunately, I can't really give you a good example because the difference is pretty vast. It's just like building a house. Depending on where you build it, what you build it out of, how big of a house you build, and all the features that are included in the house, the prices can change pretty drastically. So that's one of the purposes of our workshop. It's a comprehensive 2-part workshop. It's 1 hour each day that you sit down with me or one of the other engineers to talk about your business, what you need, your projects, potentials for AI to benefit you within your company. And from that, we will build the customized playbook. That will be something that you can take back with you to discuss with the other folks at your organization and determine how much of a benefit AI would be for you. It's really just kind of a one-on-one time for us to figure it out. And from that, it makes it a lot easier for us to determine, what will this cost, what will this be, and how will this live? And a cool thing about this is Google is actually willing to pay for some people to go through this workshop. And it's something that we can determine with you when we get you signed up for it. Now, another thing just to mention here, if you sign up before the 23rd, we're actually going to give you a $25 gift card to buy lunch on us. There should be a link being dropped into the chat that is for you to be able to sign up and get your opportunity to get that gift card. Now, let's talk about some questions and answers.
Got a couple here. What if I don't have a lot of data for my project?
So that's pretty much going to be most projects, unless you're already really good at collecting data or you're just literally saving everything. That's just part of the process, right? Is getting your data and calibrating it and going over and over and iterating until you have a good project. But it also depends on the size of the project. There are basically models that already exist that are well formed. Google has the Model Garden, which has foundational conversational models, which allows you to build chatbots pretty much without doing anything other than dropping in some business specific data. And then there you go. It's pretty simple.
It's a massive leg up.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'll add on the fact that not all data is the same.
Exactly.
I think, an example would be if you have Q&A data, right? Questions and answer pairs. That's a very particular kind of data that a lot of customers I work with, they don't have. But if you consider what your point, which is you can quickly get to building some data when you're in that prototype phase, and then you're moving forward with adding more and more users to this prototype or this MVP, then you build that data set that you need. To use something like tuning on Vertex AI, you don't need a super large amount of data. You can start with as little as 200 to 300 question and answer pairs. So you have a question, you have an answer that is the ground truth, and then you can use that to tune a model. But that's in the case of tuning. Yep. You actually don't have to do all of these complex workflows with Gen AI. You could actually just leverage whatever data you have in your company, really unstructured data, PDFs, email screen captures after you've done your due diligence on whether that's, infringing any sort of privacy rules that you have. Once the can I use this data piece is figured out, with the advances of Gen AI, data doesn't have to be structured as it did when we were talking about predictive AI, where the data patterns needed to be structured in a spreadsheet in a very neat way for it to be useful, right? You can just embed it on, you can put it in the prompt of your call to the model, where in that chatbot in the background you append all this data that you have with solutions like Vertex AI Search, where you can dump a ton of PDFs and we'll help you find which parts of each PDF is more relevant and which PDFs are more relevant to you. So there's a lot of tooling that helps you deal with unstructured data, which many companies do have.
Yeah, for sure.
Greg asked, what were the legal considerations for the AI candidate scoring to avoid bias in hiring?
For a particular company?
So I think this is in reference to the resume ranker application that we
got it.
built. And this really, I think, goes hand in hand with the way that Google likes to protect the data. So I don't know if you could speak to that at all.
Yeah, I think, I'll say about
security.
the framework that Google uses for responsible AI. Our customers' data is our customers' data. We don't use it to improve Gemini or any kind of model that we have. Other customers can't leverage any sort of improvements that would be possible if we used other customers' data. So as far as like whenever I go use Google Cloud, how does my data get used? It does not get used to make our products better. It's only used for your own purposes in very specific situations that you control. Now, beyond that, when you're actually building an application where you're concerned not just about like the use of data, but the potentially public perception, what if Gen AI makes a mistake like you hired the wrong person for the job, or even worse, if you make a decision that's really bad based on something that the model came up with, and you get sued, what happens then? So Google has a program for liability protection that I don't want to oversell because I'm not a lawyer. I wanted to be one, but technology chose me. So this liability program is something that you can fall back to in case the model that we built performs poorly, and if it infringes some sort of like law or regulation that you are liable for. We want to remove some of that responsibility towards you, and an example could be in the hiring scenario. Now, because this is a legal new world, we could call it that way, there's a lot of detail that hasn't been flushed out regarding whose responsibility is what. So before you chart out using data in many different ways, consider talking to us and talking to Wursta in more detail about your specific use case.
Yeah, and we're almost at time, but to tack onto that, DJ had also mentioned what AI is not and how it's important that it does not replace human judgment. So although this prototype can offer up candidate suggestions, at the end of the day, it's still up to you.
Yes, exactly.
Great. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. This has been Beyond the Hype, building an AI playbook. My name is Matt. This is DJ and Dioc. And if there's any other questions, feel free to reach out to us at info@wursta.com. Thanks again. Have a good day.